So let's do our thing. TOEFL Map Reading, Advanced Level, Taiwan Publishing. Today we're going to do Chapter 4 and Mastering Question Types A1. It's going to be in page 142. Piaget's Developmental Stages of Personality. Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist who worked in the 20th century. Psychologist is a person who studies the human mind and the reasons for the human behavior. Throughout means during the whole of a period. He was good at several fields, including biology, but he became famous in the field of child psychology. Being accomplished at something means you're good at something, all right? Biology is the study of the living things, and made his name with his work means became famous with his work in the field of child psychology. After many years of studying, he presented his theory on the development of the learning process of children, and he believed there were 4 different stages in it. Announce means to say something publicly or officially. Cognitive means relating to the mental process of learning, understanding, and knowing. Distinct means being different from the things of the same type. Okay? So what is this part about? Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist and worked in the 20th century, and he was good at several fields including biology, but he became famous in the field of child psychology. And after studying a lot of years, he presented his theory on the cognitive development of children, and he believed there were 4 stages in it. Now, the first stage is from birth until the age of 2, and there are several sub-stages, but as a whole it's called the sensory motor stage. Sub has the meaning of under. It's a part of a larger thing, alright? Sensory motor. Sensory is the adjective of sense. It means feeling, alright? Motor means related to movement, so feeling the movement. This is the time when the baby learns about physical actions. Most of these are a response to something in nature and learn through the actions that are done often. Reflexive means as a response to something. Habitual means what you do often. And for example, babies discover that shaking a rattle causes a sound, okay, and they find it entertaining. A rattle is a baby's toy which has loose bits inside which make sound when you shake it. And babies learn to solve very simple problems in this stage. So what is this part about? The first stage is from birth to the age of 2, and it has several sub-stages, but as a whole it's called the sensory motor stage. This is the time when the baby learns about physical actions, and most of these are reactions to something in nature, and learn through the actions that are done often. And for example, babies discover that shaking a rattle causes a sound, and babies learn to solve simple problems in this stage. The second stage is the pre-operational stage, which is between the age of 2 and 7. Pre-operational, pre means before, okay? Operational means working, so it means before something works properly. At this time, the child knows more about the environment than he did in the sensory motor stage. And at this time, the child begins to learn about symbols and what they mean. Symbols are shapes or designs that mean something. Represent means mean something, alright? Symbols are in many forms, including pictures, numbers, and words. One bad part about this time is that the child often becomes egocentric. Means thinks only about himself and not others, all right? And often views everything from his point of view and almost always considers only how certain actions are going to affect him and not others. Negative means bad. Egocentric means thinking only about himself and not thinking about others. Ego is the sense of self-value. You understand? So what is this part about? This is the second stage, which is called the pre-operational stage. It occurs between the time when a child is from 2 to 7 of age, and a child knows more about the environment than he did in the sensory motor stage. At this time, the child begins to learn about symbols and what they mean. The symbols can be anything, including pictures, numbers, and words. And one bad part about this time is that the child frequently becomes egocentric, only thinks about himself and no one else, not others, all right? And tend to view everything from his point of view and only considers how the actions are going to affect him and not others. You understand? This is now the third stage, which is the concrete operational stage. It's from the age of 7 to 11. Concrete means definite and specific. During this time, the child becomes more developed in his learning process and even able to use logic to solve problems. Logic is the way of thinking or reasoning, okay? The child also learns to group things and organize things. And at the same time, the child becomes less egocentric because his knowledge of the world and the knowing of his place in this world increases. You understand? Classify means to divide things into groups so that the things in that group has the similar characteristics. Simultaneously means at the same time. Recognition is knowing what something is or who somebody is. Okay? So this part is about what? The third stage, which is the concrete operational stage. This is from the age of 7 to 11, and during this time, the child becomes more developed in his learning process and can use logic to solve problems and becomes also learns to classify and organize things and at the same time becomes less egocentric because the child's knowledge of the world and knowing of his place in the world tend to increase. And the last stage is the fourth stage, okay, which is the formal operation stage. Operational stage. I'm sorry about this. Beginning at the age of 11 and continuing into adulthood. If you have heard, it means the state of being an adult, okay? During this time, children and teens become, they can understand abstract ideas, which become a bigger part of their thinking. And they learn to make inferences from the information that they have. Comprehend means to understand. Abstract means relating to ideas and thoughts rather than real things or events. Notion is an idea. Inference is the conclusion that you draw from the information that is already available. Piaget also said that young adults tend to become more egocentric than before because they seem to return to the pre-operational stage. Regress means to return to an earlier or a less advanced stage of development. Okay, so what is this part about? This part is about the last stage, which is the fourth stage, which is called the formal operational stage. This is from the age of 11 to continuing into adulthood, and at this time, children become completely able to understand abstract ideas, which becomes a bigger part of their thinking, and they learn to make inferences from the information that they have. And Piaget also said that the young adults become more egocentric because they seem to return to the pre-operational stage. Do you understand?